I'm gonna tell you something. I'm Star-Lord. I formed the Guardians. Met a girl, fell in love. That girl died, but then she came back. Came back a total dick.
Oh, please.
He left out some important information, but that is the gist of it.
I get the same old dreams, same time every night. Fall to the ground and I wake up.
My sacred mission
Is to create the perfect society.
He didn't want to make things perfect. He just hated things the way they are.
Since you've been gone, since you've been gone, out of my head can't take it.
I want you all to know that I'm grateful to fight beside my friends.
Incinerate them.
We were always searching for a family until we found each other.
Are you ready for one last ride?
We'll all fly away together.
Into the forever and beautiful sky.
Since you've been gone, since you've been gone.
Whoever it was that you were in love with, it sounds more like her.
Her? That's ridiculous.
Do not bring me into this.
Knock it off!
What?
Just never noticed how black your eyes were.
They were replaced by my father as a method of torture.
He picked a pretty set.
Hi everybody, this is Roland DeRucci, and this is another episode of Ready Speaker. Thanks for joining us. You've just watched the trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.3. I just watched the movie today, and let's go through the details, all right? Real quick, the 2-hour and 30-minute movie. It stars a regular cast, except now we have a new character, the High Evolutionary, coming in, and I think that's kind of a great evil character. I'm going to butcher this name. The actor is Chukwudi Iwuji, I think. That's it. I'm hoping. I'm sure I did. I'm doing the best that I can. I apologize. I should have looked it up and listened to it, but I say it all the time. And you have everybody else from the cast. You have a surprise shot from Sylvester Stallone. Didn't really add to it. You have a new character as well as Adam Warlock, and that's Will Poulter. And there was some buzz about him if he was right for this franchise. The movie again is written by James Gunn, directed by James Gunn, and that's where we are with it. It has, I think, an 8.2 rating on IMDb. And that's a pretty high rating for most of the movies out there. I rarely see anything hover about that, usually around the 7.5. You watch the trailer. What do you think about it? Take a minute. I'll tell you what I think about it. I think it's a pretty decent trailer. And why I think that is that it's not giving away a lot of the details that traditional movie trailers do. A lot of times they give the best joke out there. It might not even be in the movie, but they'll just throw it out there to entice the audience. There's some good humor in it. There's some good sort of callbacks to how the rhythm of the prior movies are, 1 and 2. 1 is a classic in my opinion. 2 is not as strong, but I'll watch either. I always prefer to watch 1. I've watched it many times. I think it's a great opening sequence. I love the energy of it, the rhythm of it, and the physicality of it. I think 2 was a little bit different. I think they sort of went a little bit too dumb in 2. That's just me. The characters sort of, and that's the thing with franchises. They don't really age. They just kind of get simpler because they stay in that small world, and I don't really like that. And I think this one sort of cleared that up. I think there's even a way they even commented on it without commenting on it. And again, no spoilers, but that's the idea that I have. So this movie, the summary is that rocket is a patented technology by the High Evolutionary, who creates species to try and get the perfect species. And they try and kidnap him. They send Warlock in to grab him. Everything goes afoul. Rocket is very ill. There's only one way to cure him. The team has to go back to the High Evolutionary, his company, and find the secret code to help him get better on and healthier. And that's where they come together. When you first visit the world, they're sort of set in their ways. They're a little casual. The suits are not as form-fitting as they generally are. So it looks like they're not in the top game. And Quill is drinking. So this whole thing shows that they've sort of spread apart. They're not playing like they were, with cause and with intent and with caring for each other. But they get together to go do these battles, and they go out there and they're on full force. They're making a lot of mistakes, and again, I think this is sort of in the second act. You see this where they're really struggling to jive again. They're really struggling to become a team again, and they branch off into 1, 2, and they fail all over the place until they finally get their rhythm. And by the end, it's a beautiful fight scene. It's really choreographed well. It's beautifully shot. The way this thing is shot is amazing. It really, really is. You don't think that there can be more world building in this world. Every time you see it, there is more world building, and it's amazing. Usually these kind of franchises, they sort of shrink. They get very close. They get very intimate because they can't really think of anything new. Gunn thinks of new things. I don't know if it's from the canon of the comic book, or it's just his mind, sort of like thinking in those ways and being able to I know we all dream in color, whatever the thing, but I think I use it as an expression. I think he just so dreams in color that he just sees it in front of him. He's able to conceptualize things so easy and to get it going. And I think that's one of the assets of him as a filmmaker, a writer, and concept person, of getting these stories across. The CGI is amazing. There's a lot of close-ups on animals and fur and movement and all these great things and all sorts of creatures, and you really, really see it. It pops. It's real. You look at the eyes of these creatures and they're sincere. There's honesty there. It pulls your heartstrings. Now, this is not a kid movie. There's an F-bomb in it. Even though it's PG-13, there is one. I think they allow one. And then there's a whole bunch of other curses. There's a lot of killing, a lot of violence, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it's not for kids. I mean, it's definitely, if you're going to bring a kid, you're going to have a conversation with them. Not in a bad way, but it's probably good. The idea that this company by the High Evolutionary is trying to work for the greater good is a great commentary on corporations across the world who are like, hey, was it like Nestle who owns pretty much all the water products in the world, and when their CEOs said that water is not a human right, they should be charged for it. So it's that's for the good. They're bringing water to everybody, but they're literally taking water from one town and selling it back to them because they take all their water. So that's how bizarre companies can be if you allow things to go crazy, and that's a commentary on it. How long do you look for the perfect being, the perfect entities, and when are people disposable? When are animals disposable? When is everything just a way to get to your final destination? I think that's the craziness of it, and how ugly they are inside. You'll see that in the film. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but how ugly can you be inside? Now, the High Evolutionary is a great villain, really, really good. The pacing's great. It's the tone is great. His frustration, his anger, his calmness, his caring. He's just so freaking good. I would love to see that actor just keep working, because everything he does just amazes me. I mean, in Peacemaker, he was amazing. There's something about the way he reacts, the way he talks to people, and the way he brings it to a character that is really, really amazing. And there's a lot of deep moments too. I think every character shows their flaws, and like I said, I think that's commentary built into the story of their flaws and how they approach them and how they sort of get to another place. And Quill, being just a child, stuck at 8 years old when he was first taken, and never really being able to mature or return to a point where he can mature and trust people, and he acts childish through the whole thing, and he just matures really quick to get to a place where he's comfortable with who he is and how he has to make those choices. I think that's everybody in this thing. There's a moment with Quill when he just lets loose his emotion, and it is just insane. There's a moment with Drax where he just wants to be who he wants to be, and it goes back to the first story of who he was and what was the most important thing to him in the first film, which is family. And that's this whole thing of how do you react to family, how do you not give up on family, how it's not conditional, how you're there for each other. I've never seen a film where people say "I love you" so often, in it with sincerity in their voice, and it just really. I cried about 5 times. I don't know if I said that already, but I cried about 5 times. It just is that kind of film that there were moments in it that I just held my breath as the scene was playing out, and you just felt everything that was going on. You just felt it, and you felt all the misunderstanding of creatures and things and moments, and all this confusion that wreaks havoc on people, and how some people are bad and some people are just really good, and they're just struggling to get through it. And it just elevated every character to a new place for me. And I think that's hard for a movie to do. That is really, really hard for a movie to do. The experience was I definitely, I got choked up by the end scene and a few scenes. Like I said, at least 5. I thought I'd say 5 times. I got really, really choked up when my eyes are watering. And maybe it's my age. Maybe I'm an older parent now, and you sort of see, the finality of your years coming. At some point, I'm past middle age, so I know I'm on the downswing, and I don't want to bring everybody down, but that's just where you are. At some point, you start realizing that things are more important, and caring, love, all those things are really important to people you're with, and supporting all that growth. And I think Gunn did this as a director, as a storyteller. I think he's a friend of those characters and the actors, and I think they all did it for each other. And I think you can walk away watching this movie getting that feeling. And I think that's the most important thing. With the movie. Every movie should make you think. Every piece of art should make you think in some way, react in some way. But when it can make you react in this way, that's the most magical thing. That he can take an emotion and put it on paper. He can take a feeling and show you how to feel. And that is, hands down, I think one of the prettiest moments you can ever have. And it has humor in it. There's honesty in it. There's people failing in it. There's anger in it. There's fighting in it. There's squabbles. There's failure. There's I probably said it already. There's so many things of humanity, layers of humanity. I hate the word humanity because it's about people from all kinds of species. So I don't know if it feels right, but you know what I mean. It's just that layers of thought and the process of evolution, which the high evolutionary, which is kind of funny. So not even thinking about it, all these people evolved to be better people. That's, I don't know if he took that from the comic books or where he took that from. But that's a great way to think about it, that he's the high evolutionary, but he's not very evolved. He's just very static. It's always been one goal for him, to create this thing at any cost. And these are the people that have evolved very rapidly within this timeline of being better versions of themselves, and caring and really being honest about where they need to be emotionally and everything, taking those scary steps forward. So yeah, great movie. I don't want to go on and on about this, but great movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I will watch it again. I think you should watch it. Go out and see it. Go see it in the theater. It's worth it watching the theater. It definitely is. It just surrounds you, and the fight scenes are great. The choreography is great. You will see it in the last act when everything comes together, how the rhythm changes, and that's the interesting thing, because I'm going back to it. But in the beginning, the rhythm's off, and that's intentional. Everything's intentional in a film, or it should be. And sometimes they're good accidents, but everything's subconsciously intentional. Even if it's the back of your head, it looks right to them who are creating, because that's the rhythm that they're choosing. And you see the rhythm's a little off. The rhythm's lurchy, jumpy. Things aren't happening the way they should. You think the next step is going to be here, but it's over there, and all that happens. It sort of comes together by the end, but it's again little flubs and failures, and everybody's pushing through. And in the middle, and then in the end, the rhythm is there. It just moves. It just they expect it. The characters, the storylines, just expects the next thing to happen, and it happens, and it comes together. And that's, again, really, really good storytelling. That's big picture storytelling. So if you want to read a great script, I'd love to read the script. I probably will at some point. If not, I'm sorry, you should. But I think it's really an amazing piece of work, how that comes across it's a worthwhile read. It's a worthwhile watch. It's a worthwhile revisit. It's a worthwhile moment to comment on it, because I think it's a great film. So that's it. This is Roland DeRucci. Subscribe if you want to talk about this film. You can see I'm very anxious to talk about it. Hell, send me a message. I'll talk about it with you. and we can revisit it and really talk about the details. I'm sure more will come up, because every time I think about it, I think of something else that sort of moved it along for me. And I'd love to speak to somebody else about another movie. Hit me up, don't worry about it. So this is Roland DeRucci, Ready Speaker. Like, subscribe, share. Until next time, goodbye.